There we go. YouTube, Substack, and everybody. Let me pull Substack and Instagram aside like I do. There we go. All right. You guys are there. Instagram Live, Substack, copy. There's Substack. Yep, there are several of you. Excellent. Hey, Terry. Sarah. Oops. Aye. Hang on. I'm trying to adjust this as we talk. There we go. Okay. Bjorn. Hello, guys. All right. You guys are good. Excellent. Good. Okay. Everything's set up. TikTok's ready to roll. Go live. There we go. All right. We are good. We are good. Hey, Terry. All right. Boom. 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 All right. Well, I was going to say good morning. Whatever. Oh, maybe for somebody's in Australia or New Zealand, I guess. Hey, Jean Marquis. Somebody must be out there somewhere in the morning. Anyway, hey, Flower Lady. Hello, everybody. Lots of news today. Not good news. Some good news. Lots of bad news. Trump did a lot of bad stuff in the last day. I mean, well, we'll go through it. It's not good. But what do you do? Very bad. Luis. Oh, hey, Luis. I remember you. Oh, the federal building in Minnesota. Interesting, John. Oh, that's interesting. I'm going to get to it. He just did a lot of bad crap today. But in any case, remind folks tomorrow morning is our coffee talk for TikTok. So that's for the paid monthly subscribers. Thank you, Dolphin. For the paid monthly subscribers, I do a special show thanking them on Saturday morning. Excuse me. So 11 a.m. Saturday, if you're a monthly subscriber, super fan on TikTok, I don't know, member, I don't know what the hell they call it on the other services, but you know what I mean? If you're a monthly subscriber on YouTube, Discord, Substack, come in the morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, and we'll be hanging out for an hour. It's quite fun. Otherwise, let's get rolling. Hey, DBZ. So welcome, guys. Yeah, so you know how the show works. I go through the latest news of the day. I've got a big list of stuff that I've already collected, and we go from there. Thank you, Dolphin. Rainbow Slide. I don't think I've seen that one before. Yeah, that's it. I do a quick pitch for the gifts because I do this for a living. So I do. So thank you for those to support me. So I appreciate that. And with that, we will get rolling. All right, let's get rolling. So guys, endangered species. So the first thing Trump did was gut the Endangered Species Act this afternoon. So freaking annoying. Yeah, I don't know what they call it, kind-hearted. It's different on each service. It's very confusing. So 50 years. For 50 plus years, going back to 1976 or earlier, presidents have respected the Endangered Species Act. Endangered Species Act exists to protect animals that are in danger of going extinct. Okay? We're not talking simply, oh, that's nice. Keith showed my post. That's nice of him. It's not just like for animals we like. The Endangered Species Act is literally saving animals from being eliminated, extinct. Well, for 5 decades, presidents have respected this. So when you're going back to 1975, 1976, we're talking, Carter, Reagan, Bush the first, Clinton, Bush the second, Obama, Biden, even Trump the first time around. All these Republican presidents respected the Endangered Species Act. Trump just gutted it today. What Trump's people are doing is there's a provision in there that basically talks about it is against the law to harm the habitat or the nest of an endangered species. Now, the habitat, I even Googled habitat to make sure I had it right. Habitat is what you would think it would be. It's the living area. It's the area. So its habitat could be the top of the mountains for billy goats or something, right? It's habitat. And nests, we all know what the nests are. The nests are literally where they raise their children. Trump changed the definition of harm, so it's no longer considered harmful to endangered species to destroy their habitat or destroy their nests. If you destroy their nests, you're not harming them in any way. This will allow oil production in their habitats and their nests. It will allow mining. It will allow farming. It'll allow residential development. They can build apartment buildings and homes now in the middle of the, I mean, this is, guys, we're talking endangered species. And again, just to put a finer point on it, every Republican president has respected this for 50 years. Ronald Reagan, Bush II, all of them, even Trump last time. Really just garbage, real garbage here. I mean, just absolute garbage. And again, we're talking endangered species, right? We're not talking anybody. We're talking endangered species. No, it gets worse. Anyway, Alexa, raise the temperature 1 degree. Sorry, my temperature is like going crazy today here. What else we got? Oh, the Air Force One. So this one actually kind of is funny in its own twisted Trump is corrupt and an idiot kind of way. The new Air Force One isn't safe. And guess the thing that's funny about it, guess why it's not safe? Because Donald Trump rushed the job, just like the reflecting pool. Now, it would be funny if it was just the paint peeling off of the Air Force One, but apparently it was so dangerous that Trump couldn't fly it back from Turkey. We've got more story. I think we might have mentioned this last night. We've got more reporting on it now. Trump is trying to lie, of course, because he's embarrassed, because he screwed up. The greatest developer in the world built a plane that wasn't safe for the president of the United States. So he's lying about it. They're saying Trump, literally. So he rushes the job. Now, mind you, Air Force One, we've all seen the movies probably. The president's plane does lots of cool stuff that most of us will never know about because it's classified. But from the movies and from what we read in the papers, right, it does stuff like it can deflect incoming missiles coming at it, for example. It also has to survive a nuclear blast. So the plane, for example, has to be hardened to electromagnetic pulses that would come, electromagnetic radiation that would result from a nuclear blast that would typically fry any electronic equipment. It's got to be impenetrable to that. So a lot of stuff you need to put in Air Force One to make it safe. Typically, it takes several years to do that. Trump said, do it now. So they did it now, right? They screwed up. What a surprise. So Trump forces them to speed up the production of Air Force One. Oh, this is the one. This is the corrupt plane, by the way. This is the corrupt plane that Trump was given by the Qatari government. And they gave it to the Defense Department to use for Trump. Okay? Right? So it's supposed to take years to put all this equipment and make it safe and everything else. Trump has them do it in less than a year. He flies the plane to Turkey for the NATO summit last week to show off, or earlier this week, to show off. And once they get there, hostilities break out with Iran. Exactly, Harrison Ford. Hostilities break out with Iran. And the Israelis also pass a tip to Trump that Iran is trying a new plot to kill him. But frankly, from Israel, we don't know anymore. Again, we don't really know if Israel's just trying to goad Trump into attacking Iran. We don't know. But for whatever reason, the Secret Service reportedly tells Trump it's not safe to fly that Air Force One, the new one, back to Washington. So they had to send the old Air Force One that had all the technology, especially the technology for responding, the countermeasures to responding to incoming missiles. From what we're reading, they were worried that the Iranians might fire a missile, and Trump's stupid new Air Force One might not be able to handle the missiles the Iranians sending it because Trump rushed the job. So Trump had to fly back to, I don't know if it was England, was it the UK, Ireland, one of those places, and pick up his new Air Force One there. UK? Okay, thanks, Robert. His new Air Force One there, right? Guys, just a cluster F, this guy. Absolute cluster F from this guy. Absolutely incredible. It's, I mean, and again, what's important about this too, we've already put several $100 million into this plane. They're clearly going to put more. They're talking about $1 billion total. and they're retiring the plane in 2 years so they can give it to him. They're going to give it to, oh, thank you, Blue. That's funny. Thank you, Blue. They're going to give him the plane. They're going to give it to the Trump Presidential Library, which isn't a library. It's actually a Trump Presidential Hotel that he's going to make money. Typical Trump, right? It's not a library. It's going to be a hotel that he can charge people hundreds of dollars for. And they're going to have an Air Force One in there. Literally, it's going to be the new Air Force One, the new one that we're spending $1 billion on. We're going to give him in 2 years. And the Republicans love to say, Ronald Reagan got his plane. Ronald Reagan got his plane 12 years after Ronald Reagan left office. Ronald Reagan got his plane. Second, Ronald Reagan's plane was 29 years old. Donald Trump's plane is 1 year old. Like, it's not 29 years old. Reagan got an old plane, a 29-year-old plane. Reagan got the plane, I don't even know if he was alive at this point. Reagan got the plane 12 years after he left the presidency. Trump is getting a new plane, and he's taking it with him. Again, the corruption with this guy. I mean, he made $2.2 billion last year, and that's not counting the plane, which is another $1.4 billion, is how much it's going to be worth once he runs off with that. My God, absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I love that. Do you know how much Obama charges? I'm going to guess Obama doesn't charge $1.4 billion. I love these trolls. Do you know how much Obama charges for his museum? It's not $1.4 billion. It's not $2.2 billion last year. It's not $500 million for the crypto fund that the Arab government bought the Trump company. Was it that much? Was it $5 billion, which the total figure comes from? Is that how much the Obama Library charges? No, it's not. I think $30 for the Obama Library is a little less than $1.4 billion for Donald Trump's corrupt little plane. No, these people, they will always find an excuse for the corruption of this guy. Again, Hunter Biden, important to say, Hunter Biden, who the Republicans love to demonize, how much money do you think the Republicans accused Hunter Biden of allegedly, not stealing, because they never alleged he stole the money. They allege Hunter Biden used his father in order to get business deals. How much business do you think that the grand total that the Republicans claim, and this is in the Republican Congress document, that they claim Hunter Biden used Joe Biden's influence to get money? $24 million. That's it. $24 million is all, million with an M, is all that they allege that Hunter Biden used his father to try to gain influence, or not gain influence, that tried to use his father to make money. 24 million. Trump made 2.2 billion last year alone. Billion last year alone. He's getting 1.4 billion with the plane alone. He got $500 million from the Arabs, the folks close to the Arab governments, investing in his crypto business. Does that sound like more than 24 million? Well, a Republican had written about this. It might have been Jonah Goldberg. I don't remember. Republican wrote about this a few months ago and said, literally, the amount of money they're claiming Hunter Biden influenced, the 24 million, is a rounding error for the amount of money Trump and his family have gotten through their influence. Again, Trump made $2.2 billion last year. I should have put a finer point on this. While he was president, his first year of the presidency, Trump was still working and making $2.2 billion. The meme coin, exactly. The meme coin as well. Oh, the meme coin. Oh, yeah. Trump's meme coin. He set up his crypto coin so that Arab governments and others could invest in Trump's coin, that a significant amount of the money goes to him. That's how you buy an American president. You're not allowed to buy an American president directly. I mean, well, ha. You're not allowed. But if you buy his meme coin, who's to say? You didn't buy the president. You just bought $1 billion worth of his meme coin, or 100 million, or whatever the hell you bought. Anyway, sick. More here. So the new Air Force One isn't safe. Trump crippled. Oh yeah, Trump decided to go after the elections last night. That was fun too. TikTok's going to love this. Trump last night crippled, pretty much got rid of the Federal Election. Oh my God, what's the A? Assistance Commission. Thank you for the gift, Norway. The Federal Elections Assistance Commission. Trump fired the last two Democrats on the commission. The last Republican resigned. There's now nobody left on the commission. It's dead. This is an independent commission that Trump should not have been able to influence, but the Supreme Court 2 weeks ago ruled that it's okay for Trump to fire people on independent commissions and basically turn them into partisan political organizations, which they've never been in history until the Republican Supreme Court said it was okay 2 weeks ago. So Trump fired everybody. The commission pretty much no longer exists. I mean, it's got some staff, but the main people running it are gone. They can't do anything. Okay. It gets better. This commission basically helped states run their elections better. It helped states with the forms that you use to register people to vote. It helps states by advising them on voting machines. It was set up after Bush v. Gore in 2000. So remember in 2000 when Al Gore and George Bush ran against each other and we didn't know the result of the election till like December. And then there was a big Supreme Court case and we all got pissed off, right? As a result of that, Democrats and Republicans got together and created this commission, this Federal Elections Assistance Commission, in order to help states better run elections. So Trump just got rid of it last night by firing everybody. I would say illegally, except the Supreme Court now let him do it. Right? Supposed to have 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans, just fired him. So the concern now is Donald Trump keeps claiming he won the election of 2000, right? We know he didn't. Donald Trump keeps claiming there's tons of election fraud in America. There isn't. We've talked about that repeatedly. I've got the numbers here, but something like 10 people here illegally in the last 50. No. In the last 50 years, I know the number exactly. In the last 50 years, 41 people who were in the U.S. illegally tried to either register to vote or vote. 41 in the last 50 years, not even one a year of people who are here illegally. Now, mind you, we're not even saying once a year people who are here illegally tried to vote. We're saying once a year, fewer than once a year. Some of them tried to vote. Some of them simply tried to register to vote. They didn't even try to vote. Less than one a year. Yeah. There is no significant election fraud in America. There is not. I should have told you, I'm giving you the Republican figures. These figures that I'm giving you come from the MAGA Heritage Foundation. They did a big analysis before Trump got his hands on them. They did a big analysis and concluded America's elections are safe and fair before Trump got to them. But sadly, things survive, studies survive even after Trump gets a hold of it. So the concern is Trump has gutted this organization that helps states run their elections. Why? Couple possibilities. One, this organization, for example, gives grants to states to help them run their elections, to make their elections run more smoothly. Well, if you get rid of an organization that helps states run their elections more smoothly, then the elections won't be as smooth. If the elections aren't as smooth, you can claim, thank you, is that Tarad? Thank you, Tarad, for the stingray. You can claim, look how bad these elections are. These states don't know what they're doing. Right? You can claim we need the federal government to take over elections. You can claim if you try to screw up the state election, right? Second thing you can do, you can start to screw up state elections. All you need is a little more chaos with state elections for someone to say, well, now we don't know who won. Right? Now we don't know who won. If we don't know who won, how do we certify? In the next presidential election, they would argue. This was the concern in the last president. By the way, this was the concern in 2000. Well, I'm a friend of mine's an election expert on all this stuff, like does this for a living. I do this for a living, but a friend of mine does the election stuff for a living, and said one of the concerns was that basically they would say, oh, that state that you say Al Gore, that state that you say Joe Biden won, it was so confusing. There was so much chaos in that state. We, the Republicans, don't think we know who won it all. So we're not going to certify that state. Or what they wanted the vice president to do, right? What they wanted Trump's vice president, Pence, to do. They wanted him to say, oh, we have no idea who won that state. Even though we know Biden won the state, we have no idea who won. So let's just not count that state. And that they would do that with with as many Biden states as they needed until Trump won. It's complicated math, but every time you get rid of a state and you don't count it, you then have to get a majority of the remaining states. It's complicated, but basically I'm not even going to go through the details. It's complicated, but every time they throw out a Biden state, it would put Trump one step closer to winning because they would leave the Trump state. So basically, let's put it this way. You got Biden here and you got Trump here, let's say, and they keep knocking out the Trump states. And all of a sudden, the Biden states, all of a sudden, you've now got Trump more than Biden and Trump wins. That's the very simple way of explaining what they wanted Pence to do. It's a little more complicated, but that's the general idea of what they wanted Pence to do in 2000. And he refused. God bless him. Mike Pence. And God bless Dan Quayle. Republican Vice President Dan Quayle weighed in. He gave Pence the advice and said, don't do it. Again, I'll give these guys credit, give them credit where credit's due. I don't like Mike Pence, but right. In any case, so that's a big concern with all of this. The other issue is Trump tried to force this election body, this election commission, to require voter ID, right, for voting and registration, or not registration, for voting and stuff. And the court said no. Now, since the court said no, I'm not sure how he gets around it, but people are still wondering if he's going to try to put his own people on this body and try to do something. Bottom line is, when Donald Trump, who has made clear that he's playing games with the elections, fires everybody on an election commission, you should pay attention. Bottom line. The next Trump disaster. Trump just denied federal disaster aid to 4 Democratic states and gave it to 2 Republican states. 6 states had disaster applications into Trump. All 4 Democratic states, when I say Democratic, I mean governor, Democrat, both senators, Democrats. All 4 Democratic states, Trump said no. All 4 Republicans, or 2 Republican states, Trump said yes. The Republican states, the disasters weren't that big. Thank you, Tarad. This is from Politico, by the way. Politico says the Democratic states, huge disasters compared to the Republicans. The Democratic states had real problems that they needed help with. Trump said no. The Republican states, when giving them the money, Trump praised the politics of the Republican states. The politics. Let me read you more from Politico on this. I mean, it's really, again, unbelievable, yet, of course, believable. President Trump on Friday rejected $227 million in aid requests from New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island for help recovering from a major snowstorm in February. 2 days earlier, Trump approved Federal Emergency Management Agency disaster aid for six Republican states. I'm sorry, 6 Republican states, yes. 4 Democratic states, no. Politico did an analysis earlier this year showing that in this term, Trump has approved just 23% of disaster requests from Democratic states, compared to approving 89% of requests from Republican states. Trump has approved 89% of disaster requests from Republican states and 23% from Democratic states. Now, the other thing is, if you remember during Trump's first term, right, 8 years ago, whatever, there were the wildfires in California. Might have been, I think, 2018. I don't know, Californians, maybe you can correct exactly, but you know what I mean. It was that period, right? The wildfires. Trump said he wasn't going to give any aid for the wildfires to California because Californians didn't vote for him in the election, 2016. So he wasn't going to give them any disaster aid. Trump's staff at the White House was so freaked out about this. I mean, again, back when they had normal people working there, Trump's staff was so freaked out, they went and they got piles of data to prove to Trump that there were actually Californians who voted for him, like Orange County or wherever, like, conservative parts of California, so they could show him, no. Some of the Californians voted, and they convinced Trump to provide the disaster aid for the California wildfires because they showed him some Republicans voted for him. This man should be in prison for this. This is, there's two things. One, he should be in prison. And I still say Democrats should play hardball on all of this. I've said from the beginning, Democrats should make clear that every crazy thing Donald Trump does, they're going to do back. And you just say, that's it. Everything he does. You indict a former Democratic president or former Democratic nominee, we're going after yours. Right? You sick the FBI after these people, we're going to sick them after your people. Okay. Right? You're not going to give disaster aid to Democratic states, then we're not going to give disaster aid to Republican states. You just literally say, we're just going to literally follow his, it's not revenge. We're going to literally just obey Donald Trump's new rules. If that's the new rule, then so be it. If the new rule is that we don't give disaster aid to the other party states, then let's not do it for 4 years and see how they like it. Because I got news for you. Republicans in Congress are not complaining about this, right? Republicans from Republican states are not complaining about this. Republican voters are not complaining about this, right? Do you remember? I mean, this is, but again, Democrats will never do it. Democrats will never do it. And again, it's not about revenge. You're literally doing it because it's like dealing with small children and you need to create incentives. And you need to create the incentives so that the small child understands that if he goes along with not giving aid to states simply because they're Democrats, then you're going to have the same thing happen with states that are Republicans. And then they'll go, oh gosh, we don't want that to happen. But this is sick what he's doing. Absolutely sick what he's doing. Absolutely sick. I mean, these guys, they don't respect our country. They don't respect the rule of law. I mean, there's no love of country. Again, just the whole nature of treating the country this way, that you're so political that you would cut aid to people, right? You know, Democrats or Republicans or whichever. It's absolutely sickening here. Oops, hang on here. 1 second here. 1 second here. Where is this crazy thing? Where is this crazy thing? There it is. Oops. Oops. There it is. There it is. I need to report someone. We're going to see if we can get them kicked off of Facebook. One second. There we go. There we go. All right. Too late. Now we're going to see if we can get your account banned on Facebook. This should be fun. Bye-bye. Yeah. There you go. Bye-bye, crazy person. I like how he put the gay dog at the bottom. Oh, God. That's funny. The troll didn't even know. All righty. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay, we're done. I had to block somebody. There we go. All done. All done, all done, all done. There we go. Anyway, it's sick. No, these guys are sick. Absolutely sick. 1 second. What else we got here now? Mark Zandi. The war with Iran has cost the average American family $1,100 so far. Thank you, Mandy. Let's see. I mean, you never know with these guys whether they're going to take anything seriously. Questionable, but it's worth trying. The average American family, the war has now cost them with Iran, has cost them $1,100. Not good. Trump, the TARP update. So the White House is claiming, again, pathological liars. The White House is claiming that the TARP that Trump put up at the White House is not because he's changing the 200-year-old columns, which of course I'll bet he is. Thank you, Sadie. Thank you, Nauseous. Alexa, lower the temperature 1 degree. They're claiming that the Secret Service, hey, Jean-Marc, they're claiming that the Secret Service is demanding that the front door be fortified. The front door isn't strong enough to the White House. Maybe, but I call bullshit. It just so happens they're putting up tarps covering the columns in front of the White House, columns that Trump hates, Columns that Trump says he wants to get, 200-year-old columns that Trump wants to get rid of because they're not, I'm trying to find a nice word, because they're not effeminate enough, because they need curly cues and gold and stuff on them. It just so happens that Trump wants these big curly Q effeminate columns in front of the White House, right? And coincidentally, we now have tarps, thank you, Julie, we now have tarps covering these columns, but no one's changing the columns, even though Trump has been demanding the columns be changed for months now. Yeah, he thinks it's his house. He thinks it's his house. Actually, that's, it's, yeah. Yep. Speaking of people who think it's their house, thank you, Sheila, for the gift. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Kash Patel. MS Now reports that FBI Director Kash Patel has been demanding special perks from FBI employees during his taxpayer-funded travels throughout the country, including helicopter tours and jet ski excursions, according to whistleblower accounts given to Democrats on the House and Senate Judiciary Committees and obtained by MS Now. Of course. I didn't want to say that, Solak. A gay cruise. This story is interesting to me. Bad enough from Egypt, but Turkey wants to pretend it's European. Turkey likes to pretend like it's a European country. It's not. It's like Russia pretending it's a European country. Sadly, I mean, I met some nice Turks, but it's like Russia pretending it's a European country. Listen to this. A gay cruise that was prohibited from stopping in Turkey earlier this week was not allowed to dock at its substitute port in Egypt on Thursday. So the gay cruise was supposed to go to a number of ports, including Turkey. And the Turks said, no, we don't want gays here, right? So as an alternative, they go to Alexandria, Egypt. The Egyptians say, we don't want gays here. So the Egyptians turned them away too. Mind you, the Egyptians have accepted the cruise several times before, not been a problem. Amazing. For me, Egypt wants to be backwards, whatever, right? Not thrilled about it, but typical that Egypt is bad on civil rights and all of that. What a surprise, right? Turkey? Now, Turkey's Muslim too. You got that going here. But Turkey thinks it's part of Europe. Turkey's part of NATO. Turkey wants to be part of the European Union, right? Turkey wants to be part of the European Union. Clem, not a funny joke. If you're being serious, you're about to leave. If you're not being serious, if you think you're being cute, that's really homophobic. So yeah, unless you're gay, not a joke you're allowed to make. But yeah. Turkey thinks it's going to be part of Europe. Not if you do this crap. It's one more, it's unfortunate, but the real concern with Turkey is that Turkey is sliding into Islamic fundamentalism, that Turkey goes the way of Iran in the next 10 years or something. That's the real concern with Turkey. As we give them all of these weapons and everything else, it's the next freaking Iran. It isn't the next Iran yet. That's the concern of what happens with Turkey, that they become the next Iran. And when they do crap like this, at the very least, they prove why they're not members of the European Union, because they're not Europeans. If again, Turkey, I sort of say the same thing I do with Russia. You want to form instead of being part of Europe, you want to be part of Belarus and Venezuela, who knows now, Belarus, Cuba, Venezuela, and North Korea. Okay. Good luck with that. Like, you want to be part of Europe, then start acting like Europe. But this shit is unacceptable. People should stop. I mean, Turkey is apparently a great place to visit. People should stop going to Turkey. If it's not safe, people shouldn't be going there. Anyway, what else we got here? Hegseth. Oh, Hegseth is upset about beards. CNN had the story today. Hegseth went to, I think it wasn't a base. Was it a base? Navy ship. Hegseth went on board a Navy ship, and our defense secretary, he saw beards. And he got very upset because the modern U.S. military shouldn't have beards. They can't fight wars if they have beards. Listen to this via CNN. As the U.S.-Iran war risked reigniting in recent weeks, Secretary Hegseth boarded a Navy ship for what was supposed to be a routine visit with sailors. The trip was marred by facial hair. I love how CNN does this, because bottom line is, CNN goes, we're at war with Iran. He's visiting a ship, and the thing he's worried about is beards on the ship. We're at freaking war. And his biggest concern is whether they've got the right beard or whether they're clean shaven or whatever. Like that's going to make a difference in the war with Iran, right? He boarded a Navy ship and was marred by facial hair. Hegseth noticed multiple sailors sporting beards, apparently violating a stricter policy restricting beards in most instances that he issued last year. Hegseth left the ship wondering if the Pentagon rank and file paid attention to his beard policy and other policy changes he has made to the workforce. Clearly, they haven't. I mean, I've heard this too recently. I think, thank you for the gift there, Julie. I think he's not wrong and he's pissed off. Basically, they think he's a joker. And the admirals and the generals think he's a joker, right? Remember this idiot? This idiot made the generals and the admirals come to Washington from around the world so he could lecture them about their weight and about beards. And they were, remember, the warrior. He was going to teach them about he was going to teach generals and admirals about the warrior ethos. The Fox News guy thought he knew more about the warrior ethos than generals and admirals. These guys hate his guts. So it's not surprising that he visited the ship and the guys who ran the ship said, ignore him. You can keep your damn beard. So now we're in the middle of a war with Iran, and our defense secretary is spending all of his time worrying about beards. This is a joke. I mean, it's not a joke. This is serious, but it's a joke that this is what this guy's focusing on, right? Shortly after his visit, Pentagon officials held a series of meetings in which they told subordinates that Hegseth was closely monitoring agency's progress on the beard policy and other workplace changes, and there was pressure from political appointees to move faster on the directives. Quote, want to bring your attention that the Secretary of War is paying close attention to the progress on the equal employment opportunity reforms. Beards. A Pentagon official wrote, in fact, the push is to move faster. There needs to revamp some of our timelines. Oh, God. He also has brought Christian prayer services to the Pentagon and threatened to cut ties with Scouting America over its woke policies. Again, you're focusing on the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts when we're at war with Iran. Maybe you should be focusing on the war and not beards and not the Boy Scouts. Alexa, raise the temperature 1 degree. All right, a little Ukraine news. So Ukraine, I did my video on this, and I initially said 48 hours. It's 4 days. Ukraine has been blowing the crap out of Russia's oil industry, like beautifully, absolutely beautiful. The last 4 days, the last 4 to 5 days, they've blown up 48 fuel tankers. 48 they've blown up, the Ukrainians have. Russia only has so many fuel tankers. 48 is a lot. 48 in 4 to 5 days is insane. Just overnight, the Ukrainian targets included 13 tankers and a number of other ships, brings the total to 48 tankers in 4 or 5 days. Ukraine also hit a major Russian oil refinery and oil terminals in the last day. I looked at this publication, Novaya Gazeta Europe. The fuel crisis, which has been caused by the fuel crisis in Russia, which has been caused by Ukraine's unrelenting attacks on Russian energy infrastructure in recent months, is, quote, the worst in decades, according to analysts at Energy Intelligence, the world's leading energy information company. Ukrainian strikes, this is from the same publication, Ukrainian strikes on oil refineries have seen petrol production in Russia fall by 25%. That's good. Meaning Russia currently produces 20% less fuel than it needs to cover its own domestic consumption. That's really good, according to Reuters. Now, I had grabbed this really quick to show you. This is Russian gasoline prices in the country, and this is over the last 5 years so that it takes you right before the war started. So the war starts right about here, okay? Russia invades Ukraine right about here, low point. Gas prices spike, and then they consistently go down. They stay down, and then in the last year, look what happens to gasoline prices in Russia. They spike, and then they really spike. This is equal to the worst at the beginning of the war. At the beginning of the war, it was only like 1 month that they spiked and then they came down. We only had 1 month of bad gas prices in Russia. Now it's been, again, this is the last, actually, this is a year and a half, 2025. This is the last year and a half. Ukraine's done a damn good job. And you can see that the trend here isn't just, it went up and then came down. It keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Very good. Okay, I don't remember initially. I think initially it came down because there was the oil. I think initially it came down just because of the fear of the war. Probably sanctions too. I'll bet you it was international sanctions, and it could have just been the war breaks out and fear makes energy prices spike worldwide. That could have been it, right? I don't know. I don't remember offhand, but that's my guess. And the other thing, as I said, is it could be international sanctions caused gas prices to rise in Russia, and then they adjusted, is my guess. And okay, buying gas from India, that's true too, actually. You're right. All of a sudden they find alternative sources for energy, and then they're able to adjust things. Well, that's the other thing. Preston said today, Preston Stewart, but I didn't understand. He was talking about gasoline in Russia costing $15 a gallon. But what I didn't understand was whether he meant Russia or Crimea. And I wasn't sure which one he meant, but he was talking about basically how bad it's gotten, that basically gasoline, and his point, which is a good point, which you just made, Charles, that gasoline prices going to $15 a gallon. I mean, for Americans, we think gallons. $15 a gallon is horrible, but for a Russian who makes a buttload less money than we make, I mean, the average. I'm trying to think. Alexa, compare the average monthly income in America to the average monthly income in Russia.
The average monthly income in the USA is
6,900 US. 1,200 in Russia. In Russia, it's 5 times less. The average monthly income is 5 times higher in America than it is 5 times. 1,200 in Russia versus 6,900 here. Okay, that tells you what. And so they make 1/5 the amount we make in income, and then to have gas prices go to $15 a gallon when you make 20% of the salary you and I make. Whoo. Brent, there's been a lot of news over the last years of Russia recruiting from Africa. I didn't see if there was any new story, but there have been stories for several years now, including a couple months ago. I haven't seen anything in a few, but I'd say 3-4 months ago, there were new stories. The Russians have basically tricked, recruited, but then tricked Cubans, several African countries, Indians. The Indians, some of them I think are still there. I'm trying to forget who else. I'm forgetting some of the other ones, but they've gone after a number of African countries as well. Well, North Koreans, they haven't tricked though. North Koreans, they've actually, negotiated with North Korea to get troops. I'm talking, they literally tricked people into becoming Russian troops. So yeah, Sri Lanka, I think was one of them. Yeah, I was going to say, I remember there were a couple other countries that weren't, Solak, yeah, whatever. I mean, it still gives people the sense overall. I'm with you. I always hate the difference between those two anyway. What else we got? There was a story that I can't see confirmed here that supposedly, I did not see this confirmed by any good news sources. Supposedly the U.S. has authorized an immediate emergency package of Patriot missiles. I couldn't find it anywhere, so I'm not sure that's true. What is true and what worried me was I did see a number of publications say the concern I brought up last night, or 2 nights ago, that giving Ukraine the licenses to build Patriot missiles is something that is going to probably take years for them to do. It's not going to take months. It's going to take years. And I saw ABC, a bunch of news outlets wrote about this in the last day. So that is worrisome, that looks to be an accurate story, which is too bad, but Anyway, my Alexa's smarter than yours. All right, let me get comfortable and let's hang out, guys. Oops. There we go. All right. Ooh la 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 la. There we go. Adjusting my camera so I can sit back and relax a little. Anyway. Oh. Oh, that's even worse. Yeah, I don't know if that was Trevor, if that's correct, but that's worse if it's true. Anyway, what else we got, guys? So yeah, so tomorrow, remember, we've got our coffee talk for the super fans on TikTok and everybody else who's a monthly subscriber, YouTube, Substack, Discord, etc. So be aware, be there or be square. As I said, it's funny. I always get a few people who don't realize, and they show up on Saturday and then they get pissed off and say, you have to pay to see your lives. I'm never coming back. And I'm always like, no. I've always done the free lives during the week. And then I started doing one on Saturday to thank the people who are monthly subscribers. So no. This is a new one, not any more new, but it's a new show I do to thank those of you. I have not spoken to Vlad lately, but my nephew talks to him all the time because he works with him. So we know Vlad's okay. But I don't speak to him too much. Vlad's not a talker. Vlad's not a real, I love Vlad. I don't find Vlad to be a real chatterbox like I am. You know what I mean? But he's fine. Yeah. No, my nephew works with him, so he's totally fine. Yeah. No, don't worry. Yeah, don't worry about that. Did not find anything more about the ICE shooting. There's some videos out there, and then I started looking at the videos, and I didn't see the right videos. So I will say this. Big surprise, we're starting to hear more and more evidence suggesting ICE might have lied about its killing of a Mexican immigrant who was here in the U.S. I still don't have enough on it, but in the last day, the stuff I was reading, surprise, was starting to suggest there were witnesses who said different stories than ICE gave. Yeah. Again, I like to get the facts. Sadly, ICE lies a lot about this stuff, which is very sad because people keep dying. Anyway, oh man, sorry. Oh man. Mitch McConnell, no Mitch McConnell news. No. Weird, the Mitch McConnell stuff, obviously. Very weird. I did go to Trader Joe's today. That was fun. I like to go to Trader Joe's for to splurge. So I buy my brownie mix, my roasted almonds. I actually bought the lemon curd today. I meant to buy, you guys, I think you guys had told me to get the cheesecake. They were out of the cheesecake. And then I found out it was in the truck in front of the store. It hadn't been delivered yet, but it was in the truck. I was like, are you kidding me? So I did not get my Trader Joe's cheesecake. I was very upset. The peanut butter cups suck. I don't buy them anymore. They're bad. They changed the recipe 2 years ago. Really pisses me off, by the way. But the peanut butter cups are no longer any good. Yeah, quite seriously. I told my nephew about a year and a half ago, I told my nephew about it. And he a couple months later, he goes, Uncle John, you were right. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, I didn't really believe you, but I was like, let me see. He goes, I bought the peanut butter cups at Trader Joe's. He goes, they sucked. Did they change it back? Trader Joe's used to make the best peanut butter cups to die for. Then they changed the recipe 2 years ago, or about a year and a half ago. Piece of shit. Absolutely horrible. Told him about it. He went and bought them and said the same thing. It was their shit. I don't know what they did to change the recipe. So I don't know, unless they changed them again. I hope they changed them again, but very sad. Yeah, but why? But they changed who they bought them from, clearly, or the people they bought them from changed the recipe. Actually, well, I ran into somebody at the Trader Joe's working there who is a fan of my videos and stuff because he came up, Scott. Hi, Scott, if you're out there. Anybody know Scott at Trader Joe's in DC? But came up and said hi and stuff. And I was like, oh, hey. So I should have told him. I should have asked him about the peanut butter cups. We were talking about politics and stuff, but I should have asked him about the peanut butter cups because it's true. It was not good. Oh, I'm not up on that at all, Solak. Count Binface, a UK comedian running for MP against Nigel Farage. I'm not up on that at all. Very sad, though. Like I said, yeah, so they changed who they were buying them from. But anyway, I got a number of the things I really like to get from them. So I love my Trader Joe's. It's such good stuff. you know. I told you I got some tangy cherries. Oh my God. Dried cherries. Dried tart cherries at Trader Joe's. Oh my God, are they good? Ridiculous. And these things would be great in any kind of a fruit, any kind of a colored fruit, like cherry, berries, whatever. Putting some of these in, oh my God. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I did see that about the UK MP murdered. They caught somebody or whatever. I'm really not up on the story, however. So that's why I didn't bring it up because, and for our audience, they found the murderer of a UK member of parliament. I mean, it's a little off topic for us, but I did see it though. So, yeah, I could see that, Lizzie. It's a good idea. You're right. I do, when I remember, make granola that's very good. You're right. That cherry would be delicious in the granola. The problem is you'd have to use, it's expensive. It's like $4 for a container. I'd have to use an entire container. And even then it's not much, but it is very good. Sea salt chocolate chunk cookies. Oh, I don't know that. World Market closed. Oh no. I used to love World Market. Oh no. I did not know that. I liked World Market. I liked their stuff. I liked their tables and stuff. Like the dining room tables I thought were always very pretty because I like that kind. I have that. I don't have a World Market table. I did previously. Had a World Market dining room table. Now I've got I forget whatchamacallit. I forget who now. It might be Crate and Barrel. I don't know. Although it's a little bit crappy, which I'm not thrilled. But anyway. Yeah, exactly. Be careful of your fresh vegetables right now. Explosive diarrhea. We don't know what it's coming from. Mitch McConnell ambulance. I did not see that. I can look and see though. Oy. Yeah, Trader Joe's, you just have to buy the right stuff. A lot of their frozen stuff is excellent. I told you they've got their great, what are they called? Rellenas, papas rellenas that are to die for. They're these filled potato things. Oh my God. Absolutely to die for. I'm not such a big fan of Indian food, but their Indian food is good. No, I love my Trader Joe's. Oh, CNN. I did not see this. McConnell was loaded into an ambulance on a stretcher. Well, big surprise. They opened the door to find commotion outside their home at around 8:30 with 2 ambulances, a fire truck, and Capitol blocking the entire street. Interesting. That doesn't sound good. If the ambulances were there by around 8:30 and they didn't leave till 9, they were there for 20 minutes working on him. Video shot from a distance. The person's lower legs appear to be covered by an orange blanket, but feet are visible. They asked the officer what was going on. They said medical emergency. They asked if it was McConnell. Officers said they would block the street for anybody. Yeah, maybe. Ooh. The neighbor said they learned from another eyewitness who saw the individual's face that the person on the stretcher was McConnell and he was not wearing an oxygen mask. All right. I mean, who knows? Who knows what that means? It doesn't sound good, but anybody know what that means about not wearing it? Anybody who's up again, flying medic? If he wasn't wearing an oxygen mask, does that tell us anything? Or could he have been in better shape than, and thus did not need an oxygen mask? I mean, we don't know, of course. But yeah, you can't see anything. That's what I was going to figure. You can't see anything from the video. The neighbor who spoke to CNN said they saw emergency responders bring the person on the stretcher out from McConnell's residence about 30 minutes after first noticing emergency vehicles blocking the street. Does that tell us anything, too, if they worked on him for 20 to 30 minutes? I mean, I guess I don't know what the typical amount of time is you work on someone, you know? I mean, all right. Huh. Interesting. Well, we don't know. We don't know. Very suspicious, obviously, the entire thing. You know? I don't know. I mean, at his age, I doubt he's in great shape, obviously. You know? But, you know, who knows? So, anyway. Oh, boy. Oh. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Dave. I mean, he was in very bad shape, obviously. No, I mean, he had, after having those incidences where he froze, that was scary stuff. That was very scary, you know? I mean, that was very weird stuff. Well, let me rephrase this. Okay? This is a flying medic question. Could have been in better shape. If he was in cardiac arrest, he would have been intubated with a breathing tube. That was my question, okay? The report was that the 911 lady said he was in cardiac arrest. If someone's in cardiac arrest and you show up on the scene to resuscitate them, do you necessarily intubate? I guess, you intubate if you can't get them breathing, I'm assuming, right? You'd start with CPR. You might shock them, I guess, although shocking isn't really typical, right? When the heart stops, this is doctors explain this years. We always think shocking when the heart stops. Shocking is more for when the heart is fluttering and doing weird shit like that, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if he's wheeled out and there's not oxygen on his face, does that mean he's not intubated, or could he be intubated and people didn't see the tube? Because if you're intubated, are you intubated and there's a tube here and a big bag? Or are you intubated, there's a tube here and it comes out and goes to some machine that's pumping air, is what I'm asking. Right? But that's my question about the intubation. Big bag, but does there have to be a big bag? Because they were saying no oxygen, which means they didn't see a big bag. I mean, it's possible you brought him back. Okay. VTAC or VFib. Those are those not the ones where something bad, where, in other words, not just the heart stops, right? Intubation is for when they don't have clear airways, right? Well, I don't know. We're all okay. I want to hear the medic. I want to hear the medics. Okay, so it could be a tube and no bag if there's a machine nearby. That's my question. Some have valve bag mask, others carry a vent. Okay, so basically, first of all, people were far away. So when they say they didn't see a mask, who knows, right? There could have been a tube going here and there's no mask, but you've got the tube. Who knows? Right? It's also possible that his heart started again and he was fine. I mean, it's possible, right? It also, actually, I would also say, and I mean, I don't know, maybe some of you guys who are EMTs or whatever know, there was some chatter about cardiac arrest, but I don't know from whom. And I don't know, like, was it the 911? Was it a cop? Was it the EMTs on the, meaning, was it the 911 operator? Was it the cop? Was it the people, the EMTs on the scene? Did the family say, I think he might not be breathing? I mean, right? And then all of a sudden the 911 operator says, we may have a cardiac arrest or possible cardiac arrest. Like, the way the story was written, they just threw in the word cardiac arrest. And it got me wondering, did it mean there was cardiac arrest? Right? Ash says the 911 call. Well, even that's not an answer, Ash. The 911 call said cardiac arrest. What does that mean? The 911 operator said it. The person on the phone with them, a civilian, the EMT said it, right? It's got me wondering, the medic, are we sure? Oh, because there was like a medic on the. It almost sounded like there was a medic on a scene before the EMTs got there. It's like I said, the story's a little weird. So like I'm kind of wondering too, was there cardiac arrest? You know what I mean? Since they're not telling us anything, and frankly, it's really obnoxious. They're not telling us anything, but this is the new normal with Trump and everybody else. You know, if CPR wasn't in progress on the video, they could have had ROSC, return of spontaneous circulation, which means the heart was beating at that point. That's what I was going to, I mean, even I was going to say that. I don't know this stuff, but if you're not doing CPR to the person, they're either gone or they don't. Okay. Even more specific, if you're not doing CPR, they don't need CPR, and they either don't need CPR because they're doing better or they're doing a lot worse, right? I mean, that would be the issue, so to speak, right? You know, very bad. Kelly said, "What would chest compressions do to a 90-year-old man? He's 84 years old and not in great shape." Again, let the EMTs weigh in, but it had always been, when I had to worry about it for my parents, I was always told, expect them to break the ribs if the medical professionals are giving you CPR, especially to a senior, you should expect broken ribs. You know? Yeah. Which is bad. I mean, better that than dead, right? So, you know, Flying Medic says the audio was from a responder on the scene requesting a supervisor because they had CPR in progress at that point. Ah, interesting. Okay. Thank you, Flying Medic. So the audio was a responder on the scene requesting a supervisor because they had CPR in progress at that point. Why would I was wondering about that too. Why would a medic on the scene request a supervisor? Under what? Just because he's a senator? I mean, why would you request a supervisor? Or is it, if you have a VIP, you request, or do you request a supervisor because, I'm not sure what to do now, right? Or is it only for, again, this gets more nuanced. Because he's a senator, or because he's a senator in trouble and we're not sure what else we can do to help? That's my question. Some of you are giving answers, but I don't know whether you're medical people at all. If you're not medical people, it's not helpful. If you're medical people and you're saying VIPs and stuff, that's more helpful. You know? ALS, advanced life support, is what they call. I don't know what any of that means. It's because he's a senator of high standing and there would be concern about him going to Walter. I don't know. The supervisor is another set of hands to assist, but because he's VIP is what I mean. Any VIP, you'd say, you know what, get a supervisor just to be safe, kind of thing. Supervisor called to complex cases. Okay, but that's my question. Amanda is involved in the industry and says, supervisor called to complex cases. They may also be advanced care medic. That's my question. Is it just VIP, or is it VIP and I'm getting worried? I need to talk to a supervisor because this is getting worrisome, right? Or just, he's a VIP. Of course we call a supervisor. That's my question. Oh, interesting. Flying Medic says it could be, it depends on the agency's policies, not necessarily VIP. It could be any cardiac arrest. That's interesting too. I see what you mean. So anybody there's a cardiac arrest, the policy could be call a supervisor, because cardiac arrest is different than when I called the ambulance because my back seized and I couldn't move, literally couldn't move, right? Versus cardiac arrest, I was not in danger of dying. This is somebody in danger of dying. So that's that could be their policy is if the patient is ever in serious danger of dying, you call a supervisor per se. That could be. Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting. Right. High danger, high risk, whatever you want to call it. Yep. Which isn't a bad idea, actually. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I wouldn't object to that, right? If your life is in serious danger, that they make sure somebody more senior is involved in the call. That would not bother me, you know? Very interesting. And again, the reason we're speculating is because they've been hiding his condition for a month, you know? Yeah, I think I saw the machine with the compressions on the pit, which I've never seen that before, but they had the compression machine on there, which was very interesting. About time they had such a machine, you know? Because I can't even imagine a human being like 20 minutes of doing this. My God. Lucas, it's called. Yep. I like The Pit. I don't love The Pit. I like The Pit. It's a good TV show. Maybe HBO. I can thank Poppy for giving me access. But it's good. It's good. It's not Game of Thrones, but it's good. You know? Well, right. We shouldn't speculate, but we have no choice but to speculate because they're not telling the truth about what's going on. Or they're not, excuse me, they're not even coming, I shouldn't even say telling the truth. They're not coming clean with what's going on. You know, we should not have to speculate about a public figure in politics, a senior public figure. Their condition should be public. You know, public should be oh, you know what I mean. Ash or Amanda, feel free to keep filling people in, by the way. Oh, I never thought of it that way. That's kind of a good point, actually. Pam just said, or not Pam, Shay just said, like when they call a code in the hospital, it's all hands on deck. That's a funny observation. I hadn't quite thought of that. Thanks, Ash. Because it's true, like at least what we see on TV, if somebody's coding, you know, stop breathing or heart stops or whatever, the team comes. It's not one person comes and tries to start them again. So I could imagine potentially with EMTs, they want to get more help, you know, somebody else again there. I don't know. I guess the only thing is the team can physically help. The team can't physically help long distance. So the only reason you'd get a supervisor is to perhaps give more brainstorming on options and things, you know? Yeah, well, this is the same thing with HIPAA. They did the same thing with Trump with HIPAA, remember? His doctor, we're not allowed. They remember when Trump had COVID and lied about it and he almost died? And they said, oh, under HIPAA, we can't let you know the president's condition because of HIPAA. It's like, no. You're not allowed, doctor, to tell us the president's condition without his consent because of HIPAA. You're not allowed to tell us. It's not that we're not allowed. The public isn't allowed to know how Donald Trump is doing because of some law. The law says it's Donald Trump's choice whether we are told what his condition is. Donald Trump chose to A, lie, and B, not tell us any more details about his condition when he had COVID and almost died. But I love when they pulled the HIPAA crap. Oh, because of HIPAA. Federal law, privacy laws. No, the privacy law doesn't hamstring the president from telling you how he's doing. Like, the president's allowed to tell you how he's doing. And he, A, lied, and B, refused about the rest of it. So, yeah. You know, anyway. Oh, that's scary, street rat. All right. Anyway. I do think the public has a right to know, especially about the president. It's absolutely outrageous. Well, again, Biden, you know, Biden didn't help. I'm not going to defend Biden on his stuff. I don't. Trumpers defend Trump. I don't defend Biden on his health stuff. Yeah. Anyway. Anyway. All right, guys. I think it's 7:15. I think we're gonna call it quits. Today's Friday. Today is Friday. Yeah, I've got to set myself an alarm to remember tomorrow. I forgot the other week. Without my Greek class, I'm forgetting that we've got the coffee talk for the paid subscribers tomorrow at 11. Either last week or the week. Oh, no, last week. No, actually, last week. I'm already forgetting. Was last week the one I was late, Ash, or was it the week before? No, it was last week because I was gonna do it and then forgot. I think I was like all ready, but I sort of forget the. So anyway, all right, guys, it was last week. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for joining. Thank you all for all the gifts and all. And I will see you guys again Monday. Otherwise, some of you will see you tomorrow. Amanda, thank you as well. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Discord, Discord and Substack, I cannot keep them straight. I'm always, yeah, but I don't really set the weekly alarm because I don't want it to go off every week. Although you're right, it is almost every week. I could probably set off a weekly alarm. You're right about that, probably. Maybe. Well, because like what I do for the evenings, I have my phone and my computers automatically mute at 5 to 6 p.m. So because the show starts at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5:55, we'll say this more precisely, 5:55 p.m., my phone and my computers mute every Monday to Friday, and they stay muted until 7:30. That way, nobody, remember Mom used to call, that way nobody calls, nobody texts, or I don't hear it if they call and text, because that was becoming an issue during the show. So I guess I could set up kind of an alarm or something. I don't know. All right. I will YouTube, Substack, etc. I will see you guys. Facebook. As I yawn here. All right. You guys have a good night.